Because I refuse to give up my home gym, my family is taking me to a funeral. I'm just over their bullshit, but I'm not dead. Hello all, the tale of today will astound you. However, if you like this information, please click the subscribe button right now. Your contribution keeps the channel going, even though it has been a little quiet lately. Come on, let's dive in. The takeover of the home gym. Though I never imagined writing one of these posts, I, 31M, must know if I'm going crazy. My mother, Patricia, 58F, has been persuaded by my brother Mark, 33M, that I have an obsessive fixation with fitness and that my home gym is unsafe. My mother is now helping him to turn my basement gym into a playroom for his children. Here's how we got here. Let me explain. For background, I work from home as a software engineer. A modest 2-story home with a finished basement was purchased by me 3 years ago. It was utilized as a rec room by the previous owners, but I turned it into a home gym. Not much. A treadmill, a rowing machine, an adjustable bench, a power rack, a complete set of dumbbells, and rubber flooring. I may have spent a total of $4,000 over the course of 2 years, finding sales and deals on the marketplace. I typically work out for an hour after work 5 days a week. It's my hobby, a way for me to decompress, and it's really helped my mental health. Regular exercise has been more beneficial than any prescription I've tried for my anxiety and mild depression. My health metrics have my doctor ecstatic, and I feel better at 31 than I did at 21. Along with his wife Jennifer and their 3 children, Nathan, age 1, Emma, age 5, and Tyler, age 7, my brother Mark lives about 20 minutes away. Despite the fact that we are extremely different individuals, our connection has always been decent. The fact that he is more of a couch potato is okay. To each their own. But he has been making crude remarks about my phase of being a gym guy and how I'm making up for things lately. It was modest at first. I would bring protein powders or prepare meals, and he would joke about it during family dinners. Look at Mr. Muscles again, eating his rice and chicken. Something like that. It quickly grew old, but at first I shrugged it off. He went on to inform our mother that I was isolating myself by exercising at home rather than at a regular gym where people congregate. The actual issues started 2 months ago when Mark brought his children over when I was in the middle of working out. I was performing deadlifts with controlled motion and good form. Nothing at all risky. Though I asked them to wait until I finished my set, Tyler and Emma rushed downstairs. Mark quickly began to panic after pursuing them. "This is really risky," he said, pointing to the barbell. "What would happen if the weights were knocked over by a child? What if somebody injured themselves by attempting to imitate you? The children are never left unattended in the basement, and I always lock the door when I'm not using it," I explained coolly. However, Mark had already sown the seed. For the remainder of the stay, he pointed out potential dangers. The dumbbells can topple over small feet. Someone could choke on the cords. A lethal trap for inquisitive toddlers was the treadmill. My mom gave me a call that evening. She started, "I'm worried about you, James. I was informed by Mark about the hazardous equipment in your basement. Suppose something occurs during the children's visit?" I reiterated that the kids are never permitted down there by themselves and that the door is always secured, but she changed her mind. Mark adds that you spend hours there each day. "Honey, that seems unhealthy. Don't you think you're going overboard?" "Mom, I spend an hour every day, 5 days a week, working out. That's perfectly normal and advised by the doctor. However, why do you require so much equipment? You could just take walks like everyone else, right?" There was no progress in the conversation. In the weeks that followed, my mother's anxiety increased. She used phrases she had obviously learned from Mark, such as body dysmorphia and workout addiction, in her remarks. She would argue with me when I showed her research on the advantages of strength training, but please, keep everything in moderation. Then the ambush began. Mom was invited to join me for lunch last Sunday. She came with Jennifer, Mark, and all 3 children. She announced a surprise lunch for the family. I played along despite my annoyance. Mark ate and then got up. "Well, we've been considering it, James. We would like to assist you since it is evident that you are having problems with control and body image. I apologize. Hey, the gym. It isn't good for you. Every day, you're down there. Run. 5 times a week for 1 hour. Run. You're also unable to lead a genuine social life because of it. When did you most recently go on a date? How recently have you engaged in an activity that wasn't related to your appearance?" I was amazed. I attended the poker night hosted by David on Thursday. 2 weeks ago, I went out for drinks with some coworkers. I'm in a relationship. We have actually been dating for 2 months. My social life isn't necessarily hidden just because I don't share it. However, Mark continued to move at a rapid pace. Look at that enormous basement. It is squandered on a vanity project of one individual. Winter is coming, so my kids need a safe area to play. Jennifer discovered this fantastic setup for the playroom. Soft flooring, a reading nook, and instructive toys. There, in my basement, it would be ideal. My mom added something. James, it would benefit the kids so much. Perhaps it might also assist you in ending this bad habit. You may meet people, join a real gym, and have a more balanced life. I lead a well-rounded life. As part of that balance, I work out. There was 1 hour of the debate. It was obvious that they had practiced this intervention. I encountered either guilt trips about denying the kids a safe play area or worried trolling about my addiction in response to every point I made. I eventually urged them to go, but Jennifer sat quietly and kept offering helpful remarks like, "We just want what's best for everyone, and family should support each other." My mother appeared distressed, Mark appeared arrogant, and the children couldn't understand Uncle James's distress. Mark remarked, "Think about it, bro," as they were leaving. Since then, I've received daily texts from my mother expressing her disappointment with my inflexible thinking and how she taught me to be more giving. Those kids deserve better than your selfishness. Mark has been using Facebook to share passive-aggressive memes about people who choose iron over family. And I'm lost when your riches turn into your chains. I live there. I paid for it. My mortgage is paid off. All of the equipment was purchased by me. I'm not doing anyone any harm. I'm living my life, happy and healthy. I'm being portrayed, however, as a conceited, mentally ill gym-goer who prioritizes ego before family. Tell me, Reddit, am I the one who is being unreasonable? Should I give up my home gym for my nieces and nephews? Or is my family acting in an absurd manner? Edit, well, this went viral. The basement door does indeed have a lock to answer some frequently asked queries. I'm not a steroid user. Sure, I attempted to recommend that they convert their basement, but it seems unsuitable because that's where Mark keeps his pool table and beer fridge. I do not miss the irony. Make one update. A week after. Setting boundaries, I suppose, would be the last step. I made a mistake. If anything, things have become worse in ways I never thought possible. I followed Reddit's suggestion after posting and spoke with my mother in a cool, collected manner. I clarified that Mark needed to come up with alternative ideas for his kids' play area and that my gym was non-negotiable, as I was not giving up my space or equipment. She grudgingly seemed to understand. "You're still being stubborn," she added. "It's your house, though?" That sounded like it to me. And then Wednesday, I heard my front door open while I was engaged in code review while working from home. Keys are only in the possession of my mother in case of emergency and my girlfriend Sarah, who was at work. My mother was standing there with Mark and his children when I got upstairs. My mother joyfully said, "Surprise. Uncle James was the destination the kids wanted to see." I was about to reply when Tyler and Emma hurried by. "The basement is where?" Tyler inquired. "Today, Daddy said we may play down there. How about this?" "No, you can't enter the basement. You're aware of that." Mark took a step forward. "Hurry up, James. All they want to see is it. Is there any danger in letting them play while we talk? There is a lot of heavy machinery there that could injure kids. The place isn't a playground." "That is the exact issue," Mark stated. "When my kids are jammed into our tiny living room, all that harmful material is just sitting there being used for the majority of the day. Either buy a larger home or convert your basement. We just cannot afford that at this time, you know." Following Nathan's birth, Jennifer had to reduce her hours. What transpired next was even worse than the evident guilt trip. A crash came from downstairs as we were arguing. Somehow, the children had opened the cellar door. Later, I discovered that Mark had opened it while I was preoccupied with my mom. I hurried down to see Emma climbing on my rowing machine and Tyler attempting to lift a 25-pound dumbbell. I was enraged, but thank God nothing serious happened. "Leave. Are all of you out now?" I led the children to the upper floor and went up to Mark. "My basement door was unlocked by you? You're crazy?" They're inquisitive children. All they wanted to do was visit Uncle James's secret room. There's a lot of room down there. For them, it is ideal. The fact that it's my home makes it ideal for me. I had my mom try to mediate. They were very excited. "James, honey, perhaps a schedule might be arranged. In the morning, you could work out at the gym, and in the afternoon, they could play." "Definitely not. I don't share this place. It's my home." My mother sighed because she didn't raise me this way, and Mark muttered something about how selfish I was as the visit came to an end. Mark made sure to stress again and again how the children were unhappy because they were unable to play in the fun area. However, things get worse from here. I found out later that night that Mark had taken pictures of my basement as I was escorting the children out. The following day, he shared the pictures with extended family and made a family group chat, of which I regrettably am a member. "Look at all this wasted space," he commented. Instead of providing his nephew and nieces with a secure play area, James would prefer to hoard workout equipment. He is an uncle. Although they were divided, most of the answers supported him. Linda: "Aunt, my goodness, that will accommodate all of the grandchildren. You can share, of course." James: "For one individual, Uncle Robert seems like too much. Family is the top priority." Michelle is a cousin. Compromise, perhaps, half playground, half gym. I was only guarded by my cousin David. His home is here. He has the option to fill it with flamingos. Don't bother converting your own basement. Mark. A discussion concerning selfishness and family values took over the group chat. Articles concerning workout addiction and the perils of gym culture were shared by a number of relatives. When my mother expressed her worries about my compulsive behavior, it fueled the fire. The damage had already been done when I muted the chat. I've come to be perceived by half of my extended family as a self-centered gym-goer who puts his own ego before the happiness of his kids. I told Sarah everything when she came over on Friday night. She felt horrified. "There is an attempt by your brother to steal your basement. It's crazy." She made the pattern that I had been missing clear to me. Neither the gym nor the children's. Demand for room was the main focus of this. Mark has always been envious of my accomplishments. I am in good shape, I have a house of my own, and I earn a nice living. He had financial difficulties, put on a lot of weight since college, and obviously feels resentment at our divergent trajectories. He is using your mother as a weapon and his children as pawns. It's about control and guilt-baiting you for having good stuff, Sarah explained. She is correct, but that doesn't make things any easier. A security camera and a keypad lock have been put on the basement door. Additionally, I've threatened to replace the locks completely if my mother lets Mark in without my consent using her key once more. Her reply: "It's unbelievable that you would threaten your own mother." Mark's correct. Jim has altered you. Aggression and paranoia are creeping up on you. So, we're at that location. It seems that I am the bad guy because I keep my borders and defend my own property. Mark's next move is already being planned. In order to understand why children want spacious, secure play areas for healthy development, he said in the family conversation that he is looking into child development specialists. I'm tired, Reddit. How did a family conflict turn my home gym into the focal point? Second update. After 3 weeks, I believed I was ready for Mark's next move. I wasn't. It was quiet for a week or so after the keypad, lock, and camera were installed. It's too silent. Mark was actually preparing something far larger than I had thought. It began when my mother texted me. Sunday meal with the family. Avoid making excuses. An important announcement. I nearly didn't go, but Sarah persuaded me that I would appear guilty if I avoided family at all. In addition, she said, I'll accompany you. Allow them to use a witness to test their guilt trips. When we got to my mother's house, everyone was there. My aunts Linda and Karen, Uncle Robert, and a number of relatives, in addition to Mark's family. It was blatantly interventionist. The dinner was civil yet tense. It was dessert when Mark got up. I have something essential to tell you all. After taking his phone out, he hooked it up to his mother's television. Regarding ideal play settings, I've been speaking with child development expert Dr. Elizabeth Morrison. My stomach fell. He had done it. In fact, a PowerPoint showed up. Unbelievably, he gave a presentation. The opening slide said, "The importance of safe play spaces in child development." Mark spent 20 minutes discussing research showing that children's cognitive development needs big, unstructured play places. He referenced research on the negative effects of claustrophobic living arrangements and the advantages of multisensory play spaces. Every few slides, he would display images of his children in their small living room, looking depressed, a completely ordinary scene. And then the worst part. Dr. Morrison assessed our current condition and offered suggestions. He clicked on a slide that displayed pictures of my basement. This 800 square foot area was perfect for her creation of what she refers to as a developmental play paradise. I live in that basement. I spoke up. Tell me to finish, James. This concerns the kids. Extensive playroom ideas, reading nooks, painting stations, sensory walls, and indoor climbing structures were displayed on the next slide. These expert representations were obviously the result of his financial investment. A picture of his 3 children with a text message was the coup de grace on the last slide. There should be room for every child to develop, learn, and flourish. Are you going to assist them realize their dreams? It exploded in the room. Aunt Linda started crying. Mark, those poor infants. You can see how much they need this, James. Aunt Robert gave a solemn nod. Family looks after family. That's how we grew up. I got up. Manipulation at its best, this is. You hired someone to give a presentation to coerce me into selling my property, Mark. Regarding my children's developmental needs, I sought advice from a specialist. Regarding respecting others' limits, did you seek advice from an expert? Sarah filled in. Has anyone thought about the possibility that Mark might use his own basement or, I'm not sure, move to a larger location? What makes James' space the only answer? At last, Mark's wife, Jennifer, spoke up. Right now, we cannot afford to move. We also have water damage problems in our basement. All right, I said, fix them. Like everyone else, get a loan for house renovations. Mom stepped in. Why are you so hard on me, James? Space is everything that exists. You may join a gym with ease. It's Dash's 100th time. I don't want to join a gym, Mom. I want to use my paid home for exercise. It became a heated argument. The cousins took sides. Aunt Karen said we were fighting over trivial things, which was materialistic. Uncle Robert made scathing remarks on today's youth's lack of understanding of sacrifice. Then Mark's last card was played. His children were coloring quietly in the corner when he turned to face them. Come on in, Emma and Tyler. Clearly coached, the children approached. Tyler's eyes were large as he gazed at me. Why don't you provide us a place to play, Uncle James? Emma went on to say. You don't want to share your large room, according to Daddy. Isn't sharing a form of caring? Silence fell in the room. People were looking at me as if I were the Grinch who had stolen Christmas. Sarah herself appeared uneasy. I said cautiously, kids, I adore you. However, Uncle James has some dangerous adult equipment in his residence. We must thus find you another location to play. However, Daddy mentioned that we could see you more often if we had that room. We could come over every day, Tyler remarked. Daily. At that point, it became clear. It was more than a few playdates here and there. Mark intended to turn my house into a free daycare facility. Their daycare would be in my home gym, and I would be the unwelcome host. Slowly, I asked Mark, are you going to bring the kids over here every day? Then he shrugged. Since you work from home anyhow, that is, if they had a good play area there. Are you joking? I snapped. We lost it. I expressed my full opinion of Mark's entitled, deceptive plan. I told my mom that she was helping a scammer. I suggested that if the aunts and uncles were really worried about the children's play area, they should donate their own basements. You know what? I said, I'm done, Mark. I'll never let you use my basement. For a day, no? For an hour, no? I know who you are now. A manipulative individual who uses his own children as a weapon to steal from his family. And if you don't see how twisted this is, Mom, then there's nothing for us to discuss. A clamor of disapproval greeted Sarah and me as we left. Messages flooded my phone. How could you talk like that to your mother? All the kids need is some room. The purpose of family is to support one another. In old age, when you're alone, you'll regret this selfishness. My mom gave Sarah a call the following day. No, Sarah, not me. She attempted to persuade her to talk sense into my head. I think you're a good girl, she said. Before James wrecks his family ties over some pointless weights, let him see the light side. Bless her, Sarah answered. Patricia, with all due respect, Mark is the only one ruining family ties. A cult leader would be proud of the deception techniques he used to turn you against your own son. Here, James is not the bad guy. He is the victim. Her mother hung up on her. That supper was 3 weeks ago. Unless I have a change of heart, I have been formally rescinded from Thanksgiving. A WhatsApp group for family members that recognize the value of children has been created by Mark. Despite my notable exclusion, David keeps me informed on the insanity. The most recent is Mark's accusation that my ranting at Tyler and Emma caused them trauma. Only the grown-ups were yelled at by me, never the children. He is implying that in order to cope with the trauma of rejection from their violent uncle, they may require therapy. I'm done attempting self-defense. My mother and I have put our relationship on hold until she apologizes and admits to Mark's manipulation, and I have blocked him on everything. The gym is still mine. Yesterday's leg day was fantastic. Reached a new squat personal record. The door to the basement remains locked. I've never been more convinced that limits are essential, especially when it comes to family. Yet the camera continues to record. Sarah proposed that this year we have Friendsgiving instead. It's your genuine family, she said. I know this isn't over, but I believe she's correct. Mark has our mother totally enamored with him and doesn't give up quickly. As I wait for them to move on to a simpler target, I'm preparing for whatever happens next. Folks, keep going strong. Iron sometimes teaches you to have a spine in addition to building your body. Final update. After 2 months, I honestly believed I wouldn't need to update this ever again. I believed that Mark would eventually come up with another plan, the family. Drama would end, and life would go on. I had no idea how far this would go. 3 weeks or so after my last report, things appeared to be getting better. My mom extended what appeared to be an olive branch. She expressed regret for the surprise dinner and stated she had been thinking about it. To make amends, she wanted to have a coffee date with me alone. I consented in spite of Sarah's cautions and my better judgment. We met at a calm downtown cafe, which was a neutral venue. Mom looked different, more composed. She expressed regret once more for picking sides and acknowledged that Mark had been too forceful in his approach. I just want my sons to get along. She confessed with tears in her eyes. We spoke for an hour before I asked, "Is that so wrong?" She seemed to be more aware of my situation. She even acknowledged that I had set appropriate boundaries and that Mark had been manipulative. She gave me a hug and said, "I love you, James. I'm sorry this got so out of hand. I should have known it was too good to be true." 2 weeks later, I returned home from a rare in-off meeting to discover my front door unlocked and heard voices, children's voices, coming from the basement. I rushed downstairs to discover a scene that still makes my blood boil. My gym was in disarray, with Tyler swinging from my pull-up bar, Emma strewing my resistance bands all over the place, and baby Nathan in a playpen set up where my rowing machine had been, pushed against the wall. The worst part was that Mark and Jennifer were calmly putting up what appeared to be permanent fixtures, a children's bookshelf against one wall and foam alphabet mats covering half of my rubber flooring. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" Mark turned and grinned. "Hey, bro, mom didn't tell you. We worked out a schedule. Mornings for your workouts, afternoons for the kids. Perfect compromise. Get up now." "James, calm down," Jennifer said. "Your mother gave us permission to do this. She said that you two talked about it and that you were willing to share." "What?" My mother said. "You're breaking into my house. I have a key." "It's not breaking in. James, you're home early. We were just measuring to see how to best divide the space. You lied to me. You set up that whole coffee meeting to manipulate me. And you were so reasonable at coffee that I thought you had finally grasped the concept of family compromise." I took out my phone and began recording. "Everyone must leave my property immediately, or I'm calling the police." Mark laughed. "The police? On your own, mother. Come on, James. Watch me." I dialed 911, which started the process, but not before Mark made sure to loudly tell the kids that Uncle James is calling the police on us because he doesn't want you to play. The next few hours passed quickly. The police arrived, and after I explained the situation, they confirmed that yes, even family members can trespass if asked to leave, and they made everyone leave and recommended that I change my locks right away. I did more than that, changing all the locks, installing a full security system, and sending formal trespass warnings to Mark and my mother. The family exploded. The WhatsApp group David was watching went crazy, and I was called every possible name in the book: selfish, heartless, roid rage monster. I don't even use steroids, and worse. But the biggest shock came a week later when Sarah and I were having dinner, and she received a lengthy, meandering Facebook message from Jennifer about how I was destroying the family with my toxic masculinity and obsession with my appearance. My own mother's attempt to have me psychiatrically evaluated over a home gym was the last straw for me. So I called my lawyer and had him send a cease and desist letter to my mother, Mark, and Jennifer, saying that any further contact would be considered harassment, that any attempts to enter my property would result in criminal charges, and that any defamatory statements about my mental health would be met with legal action. The letter sort of worked. Direct contact stopped, but the smear campaign intensified. Mark began posting on local Facebook groups about the dangers of exercise addiction and how it can tear families apart. He never used my name, but anyone who knew us would be able to piece it together. The last straw was when my cousin David sent me screenshots from the family WhatsApp. In order to process the trauma of being rejected by a family member in crisis, Mark had announced that I would be attending a healing gathering at my mother's house. Here's the part that actually made me laugh. He suggested that everyone wear black to mourn the loss of the James we used to know before his addiction consumed him. In essence, they were holding a funeral for me because I refused to give up my home gym. Sarah said something that completely altered my perspective. You know what? Let them have their weird grief circle. Let them create their narrative where you are the villain. These people are showing you who they are, manipulative, entitled boundary crossers who think they own you because you share DNA. I've spent months defending myself against increasingly ridiculous accusations. I've tried to reason with unreasonable people. I've sought approval from people who only approve of me when I'm helpful to them. I've worked out in my lovely home gym every day. I regularly hit new PRs. I've built a chosen family of friends who respect boundaries and don't try to steal my belongings. My friend David from the old family WhatsApp has become a closer friend through this. He now comes over for workouts and is amazed that I've managed to keep my sanity for so long. And last week, I received a final message from a flying monkey cousin telling me that mom is willing to forgive me if I apologize and seek help for my issue. Mark has kindly offered to store my gym equipment while I'm receiving treatment. I laughed so hard that I almost dropped my barbell. Thank you to everyone who followed this strange story. Your encouragement and reality checks kept me sane when I honestly began to wonder if I was the crazy one. You helped me realize that sometimes the price of peace is letting go of people who don't deserve you, even if they're family. My basement is still a gym. My gains continue. My boundaries are strong. And somewhere across town, my brother is probably still plotting while my mother allows it. However, that is no longer my problem. To anyone who is dealing with similar family boundary issues, know that you are not crazy, that you're not selfish, and that you're allowed to own things without justification or an explanation. You're allowed to live your life without committee approval. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's leg day, and these squats aren't going to do themselves. Stay strong, Reddit. In Iron and in Life, edit to the final update. Since some of you asked, yes, Sarah and I are still together. She's been incredible through this insanity. We're actually looking at rings. Turns out shared trauma bonds you pretty quickly, and she's proven she's got my back against any nonsense. The security footage of my family trying to convert my gym has become legendary among our friend group. We joke about starting a reality show, Extreme Home Takeover, Family Edition. And for those wondering, yes, I kept the treadmill Mark's kids were climbing on. It's a great conversation starter. Oh, that's the treadmill my nephew tried to claim as a jungle gym while his dad attempted to steal my basement. Want to see the security footage? Life's too short for toxic people, but it's the perfect length for building both muscles and healthy relationships. Choose wisely.